This is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank on WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160, and our interviews are presented by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. School violence has become a big issue over the past week with what has happened in Texas, and of course the threat of violence is also to be taken very seriously within the school districts. And joining me now to talk about recent events is Superintendent Michael Vuckovich of the Indiana Area School District. We also have with us today from the State Police, the Public Information Officer, Trooper Cliff Greenfield, and from the State Police Heritage Affairs Section, Ismail El-Guemra. I hope I'm saying that right, sir. I apologize if I butcher it. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining us to talk about a very serious topic in our lives today. Thanks again. Mike, let's start with probably the biggest elephant in the room is what happened in Texas earlier this week. We're not taking sides, obviously, on gun rights or anything like that, but what I would like to know is, we saw the letter that was published earlier this week by the school district. We would like to know how Indiana is trying to help out its students who may be affected by what's going on in Texas.
Thanks, Josh, and thanks for the opportunity, and I appreciate Trooper Greenfield and the corporal here being with us today. First and foremost, our heart goes out to the families in Texas. This is every family's worst nightmare, to think that their child may be involved in a school shooting. So on behalf of the board of directors and the entire community, our hearts and prayers and thoughts go out to those families who are suffering, the school district itself, and everyone else. It's a very sad time. It's a very scary time, and we just wanted to take a minute to recognize what they're going through. With that said, Josh, you made a good point. We did send a comprehensive letter out to our families about the type of interventions and programming and supports we have in place. And in our letter, we asked the parents to talk to their children about school and let them know school's safe. And in the letter, we also included some of the proactive measures we're taking, both in physical safety as well as in the area of mental health and social emotional learning and behavioral health. And we think that's important as well. 4 years ago, these supports didn't exist in the Indiana Area School District. And I'm proud of the leadership displayed by the board of directors to bring these evidence-based programs in to treat the whole child and to make sure kids are supported, they're loved, and then most importantly, they feel safe. And we've done a couple different things, Josh. In the letter, it's enumerated quite well, I think. But to highlight a couple different things, from a physical standpoint, we invested in our buildings by creating a secure entryway at East Pike Elementary. As you know, we're also talking about remodeling and doing some renovations to Eisenhower Elementary School, which that would be incorporated safety be a big part of that. Additionally, we also did some threat assessment training through the administration. We had our third-party vendor come in and do a risk analysis of our school. We have worked on a comprehensive school safety plan that includes a variety of stakeholders. So this is something we take quite seriously. It's always something we get better at. And I can't thank the gentleman, like the people to my right, who help us get better every single day. So in the letter, we also included some resources from the National School Psychologists Association to help parents talk about it. We also provided resources to our staff in case it's brought up in class, how they can address it, because we want to remind kids school is a safe place. Right. And we want to continue to do the good work. We think it's important, and we think the letter stands on its own, and we're proud of the information we included in it, sir. After
an event like what happened in Texas, does that start you thinking about other ways that the district can improve its security, whether it is the physical presence or even just on a level that's not really seen by students or parents?
Absolutely. We're always cognizant of the fact that we can get better, and we're proud to have critical friends like the state police, the borough police, as well as our third-party vendor that comes in and has these conversations with us of how we can improve. It's something that we always have to think about. It's something that's always we have to talk about. When you look at that case that happened in Michigan last year, that was another resounding call to action to make us be reflective in our work. So we're constantly reviewing our procedures and protocols, and making sure they apply and adhere to evidence-based programming as well as best practices. And again, to be redundant intentionally, it's the good work of people to my right who help us get better and be reflective. Because when I went to school, this wasn't part of my training, and I have a lot to learn. And I think the people in Indiana need to know that this is a community approach. Here you have two people who dropped everything they're doing, one of which came the whole way from out east to come here and be with us to help us get better, to be reflective, and to have a collaborative effort in making sure school is a safe place. And I applaud them both for what they do. We also have good friends like the Chief of Shaw and others who come by and do routine checks through our schools. So you see a lot of different layers from both an operational standpoint, a physical standpoint, but also from the side of mental health and behavioral health.
Let's talk to our friends from State Police, and we'll start with Corporal Ismail, if I may call you that, sir. Let's go ahead and talk about what you do as part of the Heritage Affairs section of the State Police.
I'm Corporal Ismail El-Guemra of the Pennsylvania State Police Heritage Affairs Section. This section is unique within the Pennsylvania State Police. First and foremost is we monitor and respond to hate crimes and bias incidents within the state of Pennsylvania. And the reason why, you may ask, why we have one unit, a whole unit dedicated to those kind of nefarious acts, is because those kind of acts may impact a large number of our communities, and we don't want that. We want the cohesion of our society. The other things that we do is we get engaged with communities to see what's going on, how we help them. So we are serving the communities. And the other thing is we provide teaching free of charge to police officers, police departments, and other entities and organizations.
That's a lot of work, though, to be handled by one section, as you said, not just covering the entire state, but also the educational aspect of it, going to schools across the state, I would imagine. So hearing about the incident that happened at Indiana High, we'll just recap it for our listeners who may not be familiar with it. A racially charged threat was found written on a wall of a restroom at the Indiana Senior High complex. This prompted an investigation that was done with bomb-sniffing dogs from various entities. No problems were found, but there was an increased police presence the next day at school, and an investigation is continuing into finding who was responsible for making this threat. And I'm going to ask Trooper Greenfield, can you provide us at this time with any new information? Because when we last saw you talking about this subject, the investigation was ongoing, and at that point, there were no suspects named, at least. Is there any other new information that can be provided at this point in time?
All right. Thank you, Josh. So I spoke at a school board meeting, Indiana area school board meeting a few weeks ago. Mr. Vuckovich had invited me to speak at the meeting, gave an update, and as of today, we do not have any additional updates, but I'll reiterate the same information. We are still continuing that investigation, as well as the previous threat about a month prior at Indiana area senior high school. We are pursuing different avenues in the investigation. We've got to be careful about what information we do release.
Which is understandable.
Right. We've got to be extra cautious so that we don't jeopardize the ongoing investigation. We have enlisted the assistance of the Heritage Affairs section, Corporal El-Guemra, who's with me today. He's aware of the investigation, and we're continuing to pursue that to seek justice.
Corporal, whenever you're called into a situation like this, what are some of the first steps that are taken by the Heritage Affairs section whenever you receive word of this?
The first thing that we make sure that the public is safe. The second thing is any assistance that the trooper or the police officer needs, we provide it. We make those calls to our chain of commands who support us to do so. Then we follow up with those incidents. And I got to say, what happened, in the school district, that's impacted a large number of people, impacted students, communities, parents. And I'm calling them, somebody knows something. And please, if you know something, let us know. The parents, the students can all help us with this investigation.
That's, I think, a big thing to say, Mr. Vuckovich, that you're not going to get in trouble if you say something. You're going to be safe if you do say something. In fact, that's the name of a program that has gone through the state, the Safe to Say Something program. And if somebody does know something, it's okay to talk about it.
It most certainly is. No one needs to be treated in a hurtful manner and called derogatory names or feel less about themselves. Through the Attorney General's office, there is a Safe to Say app that we make kids aware of every single year, how they can report concerns or crimes to us to bring it to our attention, and we're asking for help. What we want to do is make sure everyone feels included, make sure everyone feels like they belong, and feel free to safe to come to school. Fear of judgment, fear of ridicule, and fear of physical harm, and that's what we're trying to work on together, have these conversations, and I stand by the work we've done, but when we do this work, it takes time. And we're going to continue to make sure that kids feel safe and have an outlet to come communicate with us. The one thing that we have to do, in my opinion, is give students a voice and let their voices up and let them have conversations with us to talk about these things so they do feel safe. But more importantly, so we understand their perspective. And sometimes as a student, or in this case as an adult, we sometimes lose what a perspective of a student's like.
Right. Yeah. So what's going to happen down the road? Let me ask that. What are some things that are going to be in the near future, or maybe down the road further into the future, to kind of maybe either stem this type of incident from happening, or maybe just make everybody feel like the school is going to be a safer place? What are some things that are going on as far as that goes?
Thanks, Josh. We're looking at this from multiple layers and multiple facets. First thing we did was we partnered up with the Department of Justice to conduct a Spirit program, which is allowing kids the opportunity to talk about these type of issues in a comfortable setting, to make sure their voice is heard, and to have conversation about race and respect and what it means to be belonging and included in a positive school environment. So we are working on that with the Department of Justice through the assistance of the Attorney General's office. Additionally, we're doing training for staff. We already conducted training for staff through the Attorney General's office, through the Pennsylvania School Board Association, and other critical friends to help educate and build capacity for our staff in this area and understanding. And we also then developed a parent subcommittee on this type of topic regarding school climate, to hear from them what their concerns are, what their thoughts are, and to make sure they have a voice in this process as well. So we're taking a fully comprehensive approach, and we're also doing an audit to look at, see where our holes and blind spots are, and see what we could do to improve. Because this goes beyond just race. There's also dealings with socioeconomic status. There's dealings of school climate. So we want to make sure we have a comprehensive picture, and that starts with first collecting the data, then analyzing the data, and developing a plan to address those concerns. So we want to give everyone a voice, and I think that's important to our board as well as to the community to be heard, and we want to be good listeners. And additionally, we're doing some other additional training for our administration and board of directors on these topics to make sure we're aware of how we can improve and how we can get better, and all working towards creating a safe school environment.
Corporal, I see you nodding your head there, so you're in agreement with what's going on, obviously, but there's also a way that I think the Heritage Affairs section can help out in this case, not just with this particular one, but in other sorts of ways. You mentioned that the division actually takes care of a lot of educational factors within schools. I would hope maybe that sometime down the road your division can come back to Indiana and maybe take part in some of those educational efforts.
Absolutely. In addition to that, actually, we get involved with Spirit program.
Oh, you are
That's
involved
one of
with
the
Spirit.
things.
Excellent.
Yeah, we do. We are. There is State Police, Department of Justice, PHRC, Attorney General, and multiple organizations, profit, non-profit, and NGOs as well. In addition to that, we were just talking outside about doing a risk assessment, from Pennsylvania State Police.
Okay.
So we're going to conduct that to do soft targets are hardened and getting better. So anything that we can help the school with, we will do. Absolutely.
Excellent. Trooper Greenfield, we are just about out of time for this segment, but I'll give everybody a chance to add what they would like to add. But is there anything that you wanted to add to this discussion as we wrap up today?
Thank you for your invitation, Josh, and I really appreciate Mr. Vuckovich's work, and appreciate our working relationship with Mr. Vuckovich and the school district and all the school districts throughout Indiana County. We are in contact with them all the time about many different issues, and especially anything related to school security. So we are a resource throughout Pennsylvania, but also, of course, here in Indiana County to help schools be as safe as they can be and still be a welcoming environment. We take that same approach with houses of worship, churches in our area,
right,
in providing them with educational presentations on bolstering security at churches, but still maintaining that welcoming environment. And that's something we're always striving toward, is how we can help our community be a safer place and a more welcoming place. So thank you, Josh.
Corporal Ismail, anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I'm confident of what the school district is doing. They are tremendous, and they are communicating with us all the time, let us know what's going on, and we are helping them as well. In the meantime, I'm asking the public, you see something, please say something.
Mr. Vuckovich?
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate what the corporal said. I think sometimes these issues go on social media, and it's really not brought to attention to school, and by the time we react, it's after the fact. What I'd like to do is encourage our community to continue to have dialogue through diplomacy with us, and it's okay to dissent, but we could do it with dignity. Mm-hmm. If there's something going on that we need to be made aware of, come to us so we can address it. And I encourage you to reach out to your principals or my office, and we continue working together. This is an issue that requires a lot of hands and a lot of lifting, and I'm grateful for the gentleman to my right who are helping us do this lifting. And
I think also it should be said that the people of the community have been able to, as I like to say, disagree without being disagreeable. Absolutely. So Absolutely. Kudos to the community as well for being open and willing to talk about these topics in a professional manner. Absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you all very much for being here on Indiana in the Morning. We wish you nothing but success, and again, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.